Let me make sure. Yo, what's up, everybody? This your boy Tom, aka Talk Time with me.
Your sound is a little again.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Ye-
me?
Yes.
I was just checking to make sure my sound was good, and then
Every time you come from the pre-show to the show, it's suddenly the sound is like underwater. And today, water is not something we have because we're talking Dune.
yes, we're talking Dune, the 1984 David Lynch movie. Oh man, and as you see, I am on the passenger side because BV is going to lead the charge with this. And I was telling you backstage and that I watched this movie when I was young, and that, of course, when you watch films like this as a kid, fantasy, epic, sci-fi, you enjoy the adventure of it. And then when you watch it as an older person and knowing the behind the scenes, knowing the whole history of Frank, who was Dune
Frank
book,
Herbert. Yeah.
yeah, you realize like there's a lot missing from this. But as a whole, when you watch the film, it's like it still holds up and it's still enjoyable to me.
Absolutely. However, I have to say that in order to truly understand the film, you really need to read the book. But when you have read the book, then a lot of the stuff in the film is like, what the fuck? However, still a very enjoyable film. The first time I saw it as a kid, just like you, I had no idea what was going on, but I was immediately drawn in by the awesome effects, by the fantastic acting, and also by this wonderful world building. I still think they got the world building right, and this is a very essential part for me of enjoying a movie. The world has to be believable, and hey, Kenneth, and they really managed to do so. When it was for the first time I watched it as a kid, of course it was on TV. Then when I was in business school, then I finally, hey, I'm gonna buy the DVD edition, which this one I think is still cut, even though the TV cut I think is still 2 minutes short. Then later on, of course, hey, they're gonna have a MediaBook Blu-ray edition, so I got the MediaBook Blu-ray edition too, which one of my favorite international covers. Really like this one. Then when it came out in 4K, of course, had to get it in 4K.
Of course.
But only the cinema cut is in 4K. The TV cut is just I think in HD, but the 4K looks really pretty. So I think for the English market, the 4K cut is from Arrow. Next week we're gonna talk about the new adaptation, and then I have this small edition. This is the ultimate edition of Dune.
Nice.
Which basically has everything, and the documentary The Sleeper Must Awaken also has a book in there with with pictures from the production, and also it has a German translation of the original comic book adaptation, which of course also have here in the US original editions. Really enjoyed that one. I also think that when you read the comic book, also the movie makes a little bit more sense.
A little.
But yeah, a little, yeah. But because ultimately is the 1984 movie throws a lot of things about you. I mean, they even had the decision that they handed out in the cinemas, basically a pamphlet with instruction, about the planets, about like the certain words, what they mean, like Gom Jabbar, like the Kwisatz Haderach, etc. So, yeah, and of course the beginning of the movie, hey, Gary. Yeah, of course, in the beginning of the movie, in the cinema cut, you have the princess like giving you a small introduction. In the TV cut that is longer, you have way longer, I think it's 1 hour longer, which actually is highly needed, but they made some weird decision. A decision that I really like is the long introduction, because they use the concept art as a background from the production. They really love the concept art. So this is something I really enjoy. in general, which cut did you watch?
I watched the cinematic cut.
Yeah, I think the cinematic cut is the cut to go when you want to be introduced to the 84 movie. Since the TV cut, despite you getting a lot more scenes, the whole movie has more meat on the bone. It has some strange decisions. First, of course, like the introduction, which I like, but the other thing is, which they wanted to do to be closer to the book, is the book. There's like a lot of the story of the book you get via monologues of the characters. So you're basically in the head of almost all the characters in the book, which is a fantastic read, and it really helps you getting into the convoluted story. But when you have like all these monologues, when you have the actors like talking over the scenes, and when the actors just stare at each other, it doesn't translate so well to film. So the decision to do partly Lynch did with the cinematic cut because he didn't have final cut. So David Lynch disowned this movie, despite that in the cinematic cut you still have his name there. But the later done TV cut, he refused he has successfully refused that they can use his name. So it's like a Timothy Smith, I think, just a fake name for the TV cut. But yeah, and then you have an unofficial cut, which is funny because here is an edition coming out that has the cut, is the Spice Diver cut, that you can actually watch for free on YouTube. And this cut takes basically all the scenes and deleted the duplicate scenes, and also worked on the special effects and tried to merge it all together in one ultimate Dune experience. Personally, I have not seen the Spice Diver cut yet because I'm not one that watches unofficial fan cuts. However, I am intrigued by it, and I will probably give it a watch in the future.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've heard about that, but I never really paid no mind to it. I just know the cinematic cut and the TV cut. So that one is pretty new to me. Even when I read about it recently, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
But when you have a movie so dense like this, there's gonna be multiple cuts of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's even different version of the TV cuts. Of course, depending on the TV station and in which country they aired.
Because they gotta manage the time. So do they want to devote almost 3 hours to this movie?
I think they did it, with basically show one half one day and the other half another day.
Mm-hmm.
But originally Dune should have already been filmed in the 70s by Jodorowsky, which would have been a crazy 14-hour version with Salvatore Dali as the emperor, which he wanted to, I think he said something like, 1 minute of Salvatore Dali cost $1 million. Or something like that.
We can't talk Dune 1984 without bringing up our favorite producer, Dino De Laurentiis.
Exactly. We in this channel we love Dino for all his flaws, for all the pain he brought onto directors, especially with Dune. And Dune was, of course, also one more try for Dino De Laurentiis to get this lucrative Star Wars money. He wanted to have his Star Wars, his science fiction series. First tried it, of course, with Flash Gordon. One of the best movies ever made, but it failed at the box office. And then he tried it with Dune, which is basically, Dune is the anti-Flash Gordon. When you look at the original Flash Gordon, the cinema vignettes and everything, it's space adventure, and then you have a hard science fiction masterpiece like Dune. And funny enough is that Flash Gordon as well as Dune were, of course, ripped off by Lucas to create Star Wars.
I was just gonna say. I was just about to bring that up. I did like because a lot of people will say, "Oh, Star Wars is nothing but a rip off of Dune and stuff." So
it's not just a rip off of Dune. It's a stupid. It's you know, I very much like the novels of Star Wars, especially the Thrawn novels back in the day. But let's face it, the Star Wars movies are not really science fiction. They're space. They're like a space fairy tale at best.
Yeah, space adventure and all that. But
yeah,
and Star Wars is, when you like look at it as a whole, it's easily adaptable to the casual audiences. Whereas Dune, there's a lot much more going on to the point where you really have to pay attention to the movie.
Yeah, Star Wars is Dune for people who can't read.
Yeah. But you know, when you brought up the whole inner monologue thing, I actually liked that part of the film because. You know, and it's something that, you know, when you're a comic book reader and stuff, and you see the bubble part of the inner monologue, it's something that can be utilized, you know, in certain things that you're seeing the inner thoughts of the character being voiced out, you know, and I actually liked that aspect of the film, you know, that, you know, you see the inner monologue from the characters, knowing what's surrounded them, and they trying to figure out a way, like, all right, how I'm gonna handle this. Yeah, it worked for me.
Okay, I can see that. I still, in my head, there must be a way to translate this better to cinema, to film. But I can see it. I can see it. You know, we both love this movie. This is like the biggest sin this movie has is, of course, the restraint it got with the budget and the time. Dune should never, ever, ever be one movie.
Not with the and it's fun. It's funny after watching the next two Dune movies. It's like you could see how this movie is just so condensed into one. When the recent two kind of spaces it out. Like by the time the first Dune movie ends is when they meet the what was their names again? The people.
The Fremen. When they meet the Fremen, yeah.
When they meet the Fremen, whereas 84, that's in the middle of the movie.
Yes, and that's actually the funny thing when I say it's like the biggest sin of Dune is you can see how much care they put into the first half of the book.
Yeah.
Even though, of course, they left things out, like both movies didn't spend enough time on Gidi Prime and the Harkonnen planet, and I'm not the biggest fan how the new movie portrayed Gidi Prime and the inhabitants, but that's what we're gonna talk about next week. But yeah, when you look at the first part, you know, there's so much love into the intrigues, especially, you know, Leto, even though Leto gets more time into the V-Cut, sadly, played by the fantastic Jürgen Prochnow. Of course, like his intrigues, you know, with Harkonnen, with the Spice Guild, the Trade Guild, with the Emperor. I'm very happy that the Emperor gets more streamlined here than in the new movie. But also the
Emperor definitely got more in the recent movies, because here you only see him in the 84 film. You only see him in the beginning and the end, and it's
I still think we've seen more in the old movie, because in the new movies he's only in the second one, and also his role is very diminished. So I actually prefer how they did it in the 84 movie, especially in the TV cut, because then you in those scenes you get a lot more. What is left out almost in both two movies, except for mentioning, is the Landsrat. So the whole structure of Dune is basically the whole empire is like held together by the three powers of the Spice Guild, the Landsrat, even though the Landsrat has lost a lot of power, and the Emperor. And the reason why the Emperor is so afraid of Leto Atreides is because him being a very noble human being, he has his voice counts a lot in the Landsrat, and by him becoming more powerful, the Emperor, of course, fears that the stability of power is not going into his favor, and then of course you have this the whole story starts, of course, with the leader of Atreides being given the planet of Arrakis, Dune, from the House of Harkonnen, and the House of Atreides and Harkonnen have this rivalry going on. And I forgot, of course, as an outside force next to the Emperor, you also have the Bene Gesserit order. Yeah. But
there's like so much backstory that's needed on just the whole trading of Dune and how Atreides, really took control of it, and then how Harkonnen really wants it back.
Yeah.
There's so much backstory to that.
Exactly, yes. And so, of course, and Baron Leto knows this, he knows that it's a trap, but he can't politically refuse to not go there. He can't refuse to go there. So the only problem is he knows that the Harkonnens will come. He just thought he had more time.
When Old Comic Smell brought up Sting, I got on my Sting shirt just but the wrestler Sting.
Yeah, Sting actually is not a, he's always a trouble movie, especially in Dune, and also really enjoyed him in Quadrophenia, which is like a British movie with rockers versus mods. It's just like a culture thing in the UK. But yeah, and of course, Paul has to go to Iraqis, they're Conans. Basically, with all the money they got from Dune for the spies, for all the years they spent there, everything wonderfully invested into attacking, basically immediately, the Atreides. And the Emperor, of course, is in on it because the most powerful. The most powerful fighters. Hey, Incha. The most powerful fighters in the whole universe are the Sardaukar, which is the personal guard, the personal army of the Emperor. But the Emperor can't officially send the Sardaukar there because otherwise every other house would be well, if the Emperor uses his army to kill one house, he can also use it against us, and then he would have an immediate rebellion on his hand. So, of course, they disguised the Sardaukar as Harkonnen troops, and there's also the other thing what the Emperor was afraid, because Duke Leto has Duncan Idaho and Gurney Halleck, and both are two of the most powerful fighters in the galaxy. They know the weeding ways, which is one of the flaws of the 84 movie, that they made it a weapon and not a fighting style.
Yeah.
Which also is weird in the plot, because how do the Fremen get all the devices later on when Paul taught them the weeding way?
It's like he had a mass reproduction of them. Right there, where they come from?
It's not we all know that Muad'Dib becomes basically himself a dictator with an empire built upon the blood of billions of people. So he probably had already a Fremen sweatshop somewhere building.
Here, take the design of this and make millions of them. Hey, I'm glad you brought up Gurney.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart. I love Patrick Stewart. I thought we needed more of him in this film, and not, we only got him in certain parts, but he was amazing.
Yeah, but also like Patrick Stewart, you didn't have to hold on that little piece of hair. Just go bald with grace.
Hey, even in the first couple seasons of Star Trek Next Generation, he had the hair on the side.
Yeah.
But still, it does not take away from the greatness that.
Yeah, fantastic actor. He's such a fantastic actor and has such an excellent voice. So he duped everybody into thinking that he's actually as smart as Picard, while he's actually a really pretty dumb fuck.
But I like, him and Paul's little battle at the beginning.
Yeah.
Even with the dated special effects of the force field, which kind of like sucks because one of them got shot in the head and went right through the force field and stuff. I was like, that force field didn't save you there. But I really did like him looking at Paul and like, Father is still in control. And another thing, I do like Paul in this film just a smidge bit more than the second, the Dune from 2021, just because he's more assured of himself here.
Yeah, of course. The new movie is closer to the books in that way, because they're both teenagers. In the book,
he don't even come off like a teenager here. That's probably the reason why I like him a bit more, because he already feels like he's in his early 20s, already taking assertive control. With Kyle MacLachlan, of course, fantastic actor. I really like his portrayal. I totally get why they aged him up. I completely understand that. But when you age him up, I think they still played in the beginning a little bit too much. There was a little bit too much naivete in his character in the beginning for the aged up version here. But other than that, he did a fantastic job, especially considering how young he was at that point and how inexperienced he was, especially with shooting like a big blockbuster movie. He's a big fan of the book, so that was a good choice. So he knew exactly like how to play it. Summa summarum, I really enjoyed him as Paul Muad'Dib, as Paul Atreides. So it would have been great if we gotten more with him. Especially as the books go on, it's like, even if they aged up the character, he already had the character spot on to the point where now if you go further on, his character grows and gets better.
Yeah, but sadly, this is where box office comes into play, and the movie was sadly not a success. But also I think going back to the biggest sin of the movie, which I totally derailed by establishing like the whole galaxy, is that the beginning of the movie is so detailed. Right until he meets the Fremen, and then at the half of the book, the second half of the book is like it's like in fast forward until the end. So there's so much missing. So like the first half, despite some changes, I really think is very accurate to the book. Some parts are even enjoyed way more than in the first part of the new movie. For example, my only criticism with Dune Part 1, which I also will talk next week about, is that Dr. Yoon's betrayal is like it feels dirtier than it actually is. And I think that, of course, the book and the 84 movies show more reason and more struggle behind Dr. Yoon's betrayal.
Yes, I agree with that. I felt his betrayal had a reason more in this one than it did the 2021 film.
Exactly. And also, of course, everybody's so well cast.
The cast is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Fred Jones at Thufir, which of course was also very well cast in the new movie, but got too little screen time. Then we have, of course, Brad Dourif as Peter de Vries, which is yeah, but yeah,
Max von Sydow.
Max von Sydow, of course, like as
Vigo.
Yeah. As the actual father of Gianni, which of course in the new movies is not possible because the gender swapped the character, so no more daddy.
And again, like even when they meet his character and they flying off to the spice base, it's like I like that Paul had little untrust with him, you know, because he's not telling everything that he's asked, that Paul's asking the questions. So there's that little mistrust that Paul has for him. And then, you know, they get to the base is about to be attacked to the worm, and we see, you know, what's the name, get all the people out of there to save his people.
Yeah. Dean Stockwell played Dr. Yoon, and he did a fantastic job. And I mean, you can't really fault the casting. And there's one thing, you know, we've compared the '84 movie with the new movie, and a lot of people complained that the race swapped some characters. However, Frank Herbert doesn't really explain the races so much in the book. He explains like the cultures, and I think that the choices they did with the new movies, despite Frank Herbert never really went into the depth in the first book with that. When you look at the culture, you know, when you look at the whole languages, of course, the jihad, etc., makes a lot of sense that you cast people like that resemble like North Africa and also a little bit of the coastline. So I think that the changes they made there made a lot of sense culture-wise, how it is portrayed in the novel, even though the novel didn't exactly went to the depth, at least as I remember, it did not do that. So I was like with one people that was like, hey, don't complain, like actually it really makes a lot of sense visually, and even though you had like a lot of fantastic actors in the '84 movie, I don't think that the Fremen culture was portrayed as authentic, or didn't seem as authentic as it did in the new movie.
That's why I can't wait to talk, you know, Dunes 1 and 2, just for the Fremen culture itself, because even in the end of the first movie, we got some trials in there, you know,
and still so much missing.
Exactly. It's like they tried their hardest to give more of the Fremen, and then people are still complaining like, oh, they didn't give enough, they didn't, you know, dive deep into the book. And I'm like, what more do you want? These movies ain't that fucking cheap. It's billions of dollars to the point where they're not even going to recoup that if they really dive deep.
I mean, of course, I would have loved to see, you know, when Paul, you know, kills to get into the Fremen, and then they go like to the blaze, and to the and then Paul has to meet the wife of the family that he just killed. And he does not only has to meet her, no, when you kill a man, you get all of his possessions. So he had to take care of the family, which is in the book very nicely described. And so it's way, you get a way better experience to witness the whole Fremen culture in the books naturally. And I totally understand that they cut this out of the books, of the movies. And also that, you know, with Gianni in the books, he has a kid with Gianni. She bears him a child. Child gets killed in a Harkonnen attack before the climax of the book. Which, of course, also explains a lot of the fury with Paul like attacks. But in general, like in the book, it's like Alia, like his sister, is basically still a baby in the book, and yet of course with the wisdom of all the Bene Gesserits before, because the Lady Jessica, Paul's mother, took the water of life while she was pregnant, and therefore when one Bene Gesserit replaces like the other as a referent mother, she gets all the experiences of the knowledge of the past referent mothers before. And so also the fetus got like all this wisdom and was already, when she was born, like a full adult, like mentally, which I think they did a very good solution in the '84 movie, to have her portrayed by of course not a baby, but a kid, and the kid nailed the part. Of course she's dubbed over, but she's so menacing in the way she looks. It's fantastic.
The look she be giving them is like, like she giving them that dead serious look, like
and of course she's the one who kills the Baron Harkonnen. And I absolutely laughing in the scene, when the referent mother, like from the Bene Gesserit, looks at her. That was my quote, kill the child, she's an abomination, kill her. The child, and Ali is just laughing. I think that is such a killer scene. So I was really pissed in the Dune Part 2 when Ali was just in the body because they didn't make the time jump. And we don't see Alia. We see in a vision a future played by Anna Taylor-Joy, which is of course a fantastic choice. Love that actress. Also tomorrow, I'll hopefully see the Furiosa movie with her. But I think the '84 movie did the best possible. Had the best possible choice how to portray a lie in a movie, and I don't know if David Villeneuve was afraid to do that, or maybe the studio said like, you can't do it better than in the '84 movie, so don't do it at all.
Which sucks, because the whole point of doing these recent Dune movies is to improve and expand from what the '84 did, and for you to like not expand and do something better than what the '84 movie did, it's like you defeated your own purpose to outdo the '84 film.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the new movies are excellent if you have read the book. Which is so funny because the '84 movie basically requires the book to really understand it. Hey, Retronaut girl, glad you could make it. While the new movies, you can totally understand without reading the book. Actually, the new movies punish you. The second part, Dune Part 2, really punishes you if you know the book. I was like, it's also my fault. I was in the cinema, and the only thing.
Go ahead. Finish the thought.
Yeah, I was in the cinema, and the only thing went to my mind is like, why is that missing? It's my fault. That's on me. Because that's also not how you should approach a film if you want to enjoy it. So,
let me get this straight. So you're saying the first Dune, the original '84 movie, you need to read the book, and then the Dune Parts 1 and 2, you're punished for reading the book, huh?
Part 1, not. Part 1 is excellent. I absolutely love Part 1, but Part 2 punishes you for reading the book. It's so fun because you also read like. Afterwards, we would also want to find out, am I the only one? And also Dan from Comic Shop News, like he wrote about it, and he also said, it's like he liked it. However, that and it's like, yes, I see exactly the same way. Like it, I haven't seen it a second time yet.
That's
because. I'm a little afraid because I may like it better the second time around, Part 2, but also I'm really afraid that because that's just something that really bothered me. But we're gonna dive into those parts like the next week when we're gonna talk the new adaptation. But yeah, there's still the 2000. Yeah, I'm very happy. Still, the 2000 TV series adaptation is still the closest we ever got to the book.
So it's almost as if to say, you know, whether you read the book or not, there's going to be some complex feelings about this movies and the adaptations, because you could be hardcore into the book, and then when you watch the films, and it's like that's not accurate to the book.
Yeah, and, see, Hialeah didn't read the book.
Yeah. No. See here, See that this is why we exist. Okay.
Yeah.
We both enjoy the '84 Dune movie. You know, is it the greatest? I wouldn't say the greatest, but it still holds up for what it told. The story told. Now, yeah, they fast forward through a lot of stuff, you know, especially in the second half. But I feel like watching it now, it's like I still enjoy the film for what it is, you know. And it's got some great acting. The sandworms are amazing.
Effects still held up, you know. Even
no. It's trash to you. It's still good to us. But the worms, the way they did the worms, like you couldn't really tell whether they were puppets or not, because they actually looked like moving pieces that actually fits the movie.
Exactly, Retro Nerd Girl. Exactly. And the TV series really only suffered from his very small budget.
Yeah, stand by your opinion, Harley. I mean, that's your opinion.
Yeah, of course, it's fine.
Yeah, but we have the mindset of watching that film, and it's like the film is still enjoyable. It still holds up.
Yeah, exactly. Like I always say, Hialeah, it's like you have every right in the world to be wrong. Like.
But yeah, like now, like it do makes me want to watch the TV series, you know, just to gain more from it.
Yeah, maybe we should also talk to the V series in the future.
Oh, V? Oh. Oh man.
And maybe, of course. But yeah, and you know, also a lot of characters, of course, were missing. You know, Count Fenring and his wife. Which weirdly enough in the new movie they just had his wife in there to get a little bit action with Fight Router to the Bene Gesserit, also of course have it in the interest to continue the bloodline of the houses. So the Bene Gesserit sent out theirs to have some fun time with the house princes and king, like lords and counts. So, and this is also why we find out later in the movie, and which is of course also like their big plot twist in the book. So if you don't want, this whole thing is a spoiler. If you made it to this far, it's like, what is wrong with you when you haven't seen it? Which is of course like the big plot twist, which I think that the new movies did very well, is that Paul's grandfathers, he's not only like Atreides, but through his mother Jessica, whose mother had to sleep with the Count, with Baron Harkonnen. So Baron Harkonnen is also the grandfather of Paul Muad'Dib, Paul Atreides, which is just fantastic. I think that the sequels to Dune, which were like written later by Frank Herbert's son, explains like this whole thing further. It also explains later that exactly. Yeah, McLachlan is like fantastic as well. But yeah, like originally, but in the sequels, if you want to count the sequels as canon or not, always depends like how much is, if you only count Frank Herbert, but also like his son as canon, is that Baron Harkonnen was not the most gentle man when he put his child in the Bene Gesserit, so he also got them basically poisoned, so he became deformed. So like Baron Harkonnen wasn't always that deformed until the Bene Gesserit like punished him for being not the nicest. And that's the other thing also. Baron Harkonnen didn't really want to do the deed because he's more into young boys.
Man.
Which the 84 movies showed very well in a very creepy way, and the new movies ignored. I think that as despiteful the Baron Harkonnen was shown in new movies, I don't think they showed enough of his depravity.
Which Baron did you like, the 84 version or the new movies version?
Both actors did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
The thing is that I like the Baron more in the 84 movie, even though they changed like the whole thing, with the heart thing, which was never in the books, which was like an odd choice, but I think it looked very creepy. I also think that the Baron from 84, how they made like the flying is more uncanny than in the new movie. So when I was a kid and I watched it, I was really afraid of the Baron in the 84 movie. It was a more uncanny portrayal, while I think he was portrayed more plotting and in an intrigue way more sinister in the new movies.
That's why I thought, like, in the reason, because we'll talk more about this next week, and I'll probably give my thoughts on the Baron more. But the new movies, they made him like this, like sinister Slitter character, disgusting and stuff like that. And I didn't really get much from him in the 2021 film, whereas I feel like I got a little bit more from the Baron of the 84 film.
I think the best thing would be like a mixture of both approaches. But yeah, I think the 84 movie, I enjoyed the Baron more in the 84 movie. And generally, in the new movie, I was not too happy with the visual portrayal of the Harkonnen. Of course, the Baron was great because he is deformed from the poison. But this doesn't... I'm absolutely... maybe as soon as I mentioned the name... comic book G-Spot will immediately jump in the chat. As much as I love Hellraiser, I don't really buy the Cenobite look for the Harkonnens in the new film.
I agree with you there.
Yeah, even though of course it is like an industrial planet with a lot of smog and not a lot of light, I think it took away from the creepy visual style of the Baron that suddenly everybody looked creepy. Also, to not have another character, you already talked for Peter, the Mentat for the Harkonnen, who was of course portrayed by the fantastic Brett Dourif in the original one of the best crazy actors. The one that got away with never portraying the Joker. He would have been fantastic at this. And of course, the new movie also portrayed by a fantastic actor, by David Machalik. But the new movie didn't give him any space, while the original movie, even though I think in the book he has still more time to shine, the new movie didn't show the sadistic side of Peter.
It's that's the thing. Like watching this film, I'm thinking of scenes of the new movie and how each character is same but different in certain ways because of how the actor portrayed that character. And like I said, it's going to be a very interesting discussion when we go through Dune.
Yeah, especially what also great, of course, Beast Raban, which was portrayed by Smith in the 84 movie, who also. Which I love the comparison because he also portrayed the protector of the prince in the Red Sonja movie.
Yep.
And and when you have like the contrast of him portraying like that and the other character, it really shows his range as an actor because he plays Beast Raban so fantastic. But Batista also did a fantastic job.
I was just about to bring up Batista's name.
Yeah, like Batista has shown a lot of range as an actor. You know, as somebody who the PG era of WWE really turned me off wrestling for a long time. If somebody would have asked me back in the day, who on this wrestling roster is gonna be the actor with the most range, and somebody would have said Batista was, are you crazy? But he became a really good actor. Yeah. It's like it's the 84 movie does a lot of things right, and I totally get, especially, you know, I mean, I was 1 year old when the movie came out in 84. I totally got when this movie came out, and a lot of people were looking forward to it that were fan of the book, that they were disappointed. I totally understand that, but I also think that later on, luckily, especially on home media, that the 84 movie got his redemption, and they're still talking nowadays about an official David Lynch cut, which recently I think is more open to than it was in the last years.
That like I said, David Lynch is the only one that has to approve it, you know, because they pissed him off so much with the amount of cuts and all the stuff that they done to it, that he, like you said earlier, he disowned the movie. Like, he don't want no part of it. He didn't even want his name attached to it.
Yeah,
but I mean, the love for the movie that has grown over the last couple years, like, you know, if they do come out with another cut, I will watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I say there are crazy people like me who buy like these fucking editions of Dune 84
because there's still a love for it. You know, no matter what people say, like highly and say it's trash, like, but there's still people that really enjoy the 84 film. And
Highly also reads X-Men, so.
but there's still love for it. So if they ever do another cut, people will flock to watch it because they love that film.
Yeah, and I think it also shows like that the Spice Diver cut, that one got attraction, even though it's not an official cut, and even it's gonna be officially released here. I think it was also already released as on Blu-ray. So I think that. I mean, of course, if they come out and suddenly with a official David Lynch cut, it's like okay, I have to buy a movie once more, you fuckers. But on the other hand, we're gonna buy this movie once more because this is something I want to see. Would it be better than the cinematic cut? Who knows? Who knows? But I am always very keen on seeing different visions on the same movies. So I'm always like a fan when like a new cut comes out of something.
Yeah, to me, like, I just enjoy the flow of this film, even with, you know, the second half being rushed, because you could just tell that they will just, like you said, speed run through it.
Out of money, out of time.
Yeah, like we gotta wrap this up.
I can absolutely picture, you know, the shooting days in the background. Dino De Laurentiis.
Yeah. He is like, yeah, we gotta wrap it up. We got, you know, the money is starting to evaporate. We need to get this shit done. And
it's like, it was the funniest story. For example, was like with He-Man when they had to shoot the end fight like in an empty hall because they ran out of money in darkness.
So, but I still feel like this film, the 84 Dune movie, is still a fun and interesting, very dense, but yet you're paying attention to it. And
absolutely.
The cast is amazing. I feel like, you know, when we talk Dune's parts 1 and 2 next week, we're gonna continue to compare the cast.
Yeah, because also a fantastic cast. You know, this is something that both movies did absolutely right, like with the casting. Of course, there are some choices where I think maybe unnecessary or maybe it's like, who cares? But I think that in both projects, the least thing somebody could criticize are the casting choices.
And each cast brings something different to the table. Some characters get expanded in the recent films, whereas some characters were probably better off in the 84 film.
I mean, Javier Bardem as Stilgar knocks everybody out of the... But like, the 84 Stilgar, absolutely no comparison to Javier Bardem's, like...
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, Javier really, like, made that character his own. Whereas the 84 film, that character kind of falls into the background.
Yeah,
like,
I still think that Stilgar was the closest to the book from the characters in the new movie.
So, going through these films, it's like we get to break down these characters and how they're portrayed in these films. And like I said, the cast is amazing, but they bring something different to it.
I would have to say,
one thing that we'll talk about next week is the who was it? The Fremen that Paul falls in love with. I forgot her name.
Kiani.
We'll definitely be interested in comparing what's her name when she plays her in the recent Dune.
Absolutely, this is also what I really love about the 84 movie. The ending, Paul doesn't make it rain. He's like, nah. He's like, no.
Make it rain.
Which is so fun. Which is actually even more fun because the soundtrack is by Toto. But they're like, there's gonna be no rain over like Arrakis. Toto, fantastic soundtrack. Absolutely love the soundtrack of 84. But what I really loved about it is also the end, when Lady Jessica talks with Gianni and mentions, we are concubines, but in the future we'll mention us as wives. This is I think they did Gianni so dirty in the new one, especially in part 2, being like this bitchy, complicated, because Paul pretty much makes it very well clear in the book that, hey, he has to marry the princess because of political reasons. You are my true love, and she doesn't matter, which, not to spoil the future books, let's just say the princess also has her own plans about this arrangement. But Gianni is like, she's Paul's love. And I also, like I said, I really hoped they would have a kid, and the kid is like gets killed in the Harkonnen attack, because I want to see like the anger, the anger they show, when then finally attacking like the Harkonnen and the Emperor. But yeah, I also get it, basically with the 84 movie, being an American movie, you don't want to have like an infant murder like in your franchise. It's a tough thing to market it, but I think it's a very essential part of the book.
There's things that they're not going to put in from the books into these films, and this is why, again, like if they can get the budget to do it on an episodic landscape where they can really dive into what the book stories were saying, and in a much more with the budget of a film, but yet you could tell these shows in episodic form and dive into the story. Like, I think they can do it better in today's day and age.
Yeah, exactly. That's just like, because there's nothing more visceral, I think, than the hatred of a parent for somebody who took his kid. And so I think really that Villeneuve did a few choices that, of course, he had every right to do them because it's his interpretation of Dune. I would have done it differently, and this is also why I think that it's easier for people who didn't read the book to truly love the two movies, because they are like fantastic. The visuals are perfect, soundtrack also perfect, casting also perfect, and if you don't have like, let's call it the baggage of having read the book, of course you're not pissed by any changes because you don't know better, but it's like it really feels like they did book readers dirty with part 2. Even though maybe Villeneuve, that was like not his, of course he wanted to do the best movie, and I also think that a lot of the changes were also due because it targeted a different audience, which Dune 2 being the box office success, which I never thought it would have been, proved him totally right with his decision, because apparently he managed to really reach a broader audience and also like a younger audience with his interpretation. So I can't fault him for that. It is a success story, which I never thought that it would have been. In the past, I think we already talked a little bit about it when I said I just hope they're gonna do the second movie comes out, because I highly doubt that we ever gonna see more. Because I just always thought myself that Dune is not really accessible for a broad audience. But yeah, that's the thing we're gonna talk next week. I don't wanna already.
I remember you saying that, during the hype of Dune 2021 is like, did the whole question mark of will there be a sequel, or will there be even more after this? It's like, I just want something. From what you were saying, you just wanted something that's solid, for the Dune fans who read the book, the Dune fans who did enjoy the '84 movie. You want something to be successful, and that movie was successful to the point that it gave us part 2.
Exactly, and part 1 near perfect. Yeah, but then we're gonna talk about that next week. Then but yeah, the '84 movie is. I also think that a huge part why it had its problems is the rushed ending.
The rushed ending, the conflict on interest when it comes to producers, Dino De Laurentiis wanting to do things and get it done. David Lynch wanted to do it the right way, but again, that's a lot of baggage on his back that he got to do, and then afterwards, all the TV cut and all that stuff. He's like, man, I'm done with this. Yeah,
one thing that I haven't mentioned yet, which I forgot in the beginning when I talked about the whole introduction of the universe. Of course, the importance of spies. It is like spies important for everybody, because without spies, there's no space travel.
Spice is the most important thing in this universe.
And what was actually my second biggest disappointment in the second one is that they didn't show us a navigator. In the first movie, they showed us a very interesting version of the navigator. Like in the beginning, you can see it in the comic book adaptation, like here, the navigators, which, if you haven't read the books, it's like, oh, what are these creatures? No, there's actually humans, but those are humans that has been transformed by being in contact with spies too long. So humans that are in contact with spies too much will alter their whole structure to become like a navigator. And in general, the second, and that's also we're going to talk next week, I wanted more of the fucking Spice Guild. And they fucking ignored basically Spice Guild. Like, come on!
Oh man, it's going to be fun to dissect those movies. And I feel like, it's going to be a long episode, because part 1 alone is an hour worth of talk, and then part 2 is an hour worth of talk. So it's going to be a long episode. But like I said, when it comes to the '84 film, it still holds up. it still has a lot of things going for it, and it's a movie that I could just put on and watch and just enjoy.
Exactly.
You know, and again, I'm not the one with the baggage of knowing the books, but even then, I was like, I still, even if I had that knowledge of the books, as much as I would say like they ain't really follow the structure of the books and the second half is rushed, I would have to applaud Lynch for at least sticking to his vision and saying, I want to put something out there for Dune fans.
And like I said, if the movie would be shit, I wouldn't have so many editions of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you wouldn't have like 20 copies of Dune. No, the movie still holds up and it's still a fun movie. So
it is. Like,
I still enjoy this film. And again, you know, there's something about 80s space fantasy movies that just it revels for me. You know, when you brought up V, I was like, oh shit, V. You know, Labyrinth. You know, those movies just does something that like no modern movie can do.
And I'm a sucker for matte paintings. And I even love the visualization of Arrakis, of Dune. Even though the sky is silver, the red sky looks so good in the 84.
And the matte paintings, is just.
Yeah, we are both suckers for matte paintings.
Yeah, like you growing up as a kid, you think it's real backgrounds, but then you find out it's a matte painting.
Yeah, exactly. Like as a kid,
you're just amazed. You're just amazed at how they could take a painting, incorporate it into a film, and make it seem real in the background.
Yeah.
Man.
But yeah, today's episode basically is like a little teaser and a little foundation for next week when we're gonna talk the both new Dune movies. Of course, we're also gonna jump back and forth with the old Dune movie. But yeah.
It's back-to-back Dune weeks. But yeah, I'm happy we did this, and yes, matte paintings are amazing. Like people really don't understand the work that they put into those matte paintings to make it look so detailed. Like when we talked Enemy Mine, that last scene where they was approached with the dragons, it was a matte painting.
Yeah. Beautiful. And of course, like also in Red Sonja, you know, the bridge with the skeleton, so good.
It's like they just know how to incorporate a painting into a real scene, and you just see people in front of the painting, and you thinking it's a real background. But those days were great. But I can't wait to talk Dune 1 and 2. Hopefully, Jace can join us for that one.
And Red and Not Girl, if you want to jump on next week.
Yeah,
of course, you're always welcome.
She's been doing the Gargoyles live stream on Wednesdays and stuff. So make sure y'all sub to Retro Nerd Girl. She's amazing, and check her content out.
Yeah, if you like this content, you will be wowed by her content because she actually brings a real production quality to the content.
Exactly, and if you want to join us next week to talk this, man, you're welcome. You are welcome to join us.
Yeah. But, do you have any Comic Con crew plans this weekend?
Well, it's X-Men related. Yeah, tomorrow is the X Factor. I will be on there. The Heroes After Dark will be on. And we're going to talk the last couple episodes of the X-Men 97 cartoon. Yeah. So that will be.
Probably I'm gonna watch like the beginning of the show when you do like the usual stuff, and when the X-Men part is like.
Well, it's not a Comic Con crew episode. It's an X Factor episode.
Oh no,
so
it's not.
You must be out your damn mind. So you might as well just
okay. Yeah, it's oh cool. Yeah, then just contact contact Sean so you can send you the link. Or worst comes to worst, we put the link next week in the chat and you can just jump on.
Yeah, just get in contact with me via Instagram. I think I'm following you on Instagram.
Yeah. She's on Instagram. I have to follow her too.
Yeah, I think she's on Instagram. Or just hit me with your email and I'll send you the link for next week.
But yeah, not gonna watch like the X-Men episode, but nice.
How you doing? Yeah, thanks for joining.
But also like everybody here, check out the Comic Hall Crew last episode where they had a really fantastic talk on why so many comic book stores have to close.
Yeah, that we was talking about it at the end of last week's show, and some shops don't deserve to close, and then some shops they needs to close. But yeah, it was a great episode, and subscribe to the Comic Hall Crew. We're gonna do the X Factor tomorrow, talking about X-Men '97, and then we'll be back the following week where we get ready for Heroes Con. That's our Heroes Con preview show, because I'm looking forward to seeing Matt, Al, X, and Larry when I meet them at Heroes Con. So it's gonna be a great time in June.
Awesome. So I'm really looking forward to next week. It's gonna be epic.
Yep. So I just want to say thanks to everybody that came into the chat. Again, Retro Nerd Girl, Libro, Paradiso. I don't know.
And even a big thank you to Hialeah.
Yes, we got to thank Hialeah for coming in here and talking about the '84 film is trash.
There's always one heckler in the audience. Always.
But Hialeah, you're always welcome to join.
Always welcome. We love you, bro.
If you want to join us next week for the new Dune movies, since you say they're fantastic, hey, you're welcome too. Angel, thanks for joining. Gary B, and of course Kenneth Bird. He's always the first here to comment.
Yeah.
That old comment smell. Sting. We will be back next week to talk the Dunes parts 1 and 2. So I hope y'all have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves and be safe, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.